On October 10th, Wintermute sold $700 million worth of Bitcoin in the course of 10 minutes using an AI algorithm to dump on the price. In the meantime, they started buying it back, but the damage was already done. And Bitcoin at this point has now cratered about 16%. It's under 96,000. We're down on the day. It's continuing. $1 trillion has been wiped out of the market cap. Now it's under the 50 EMA on the weekly chart for the first time in over a year. This puts us in classic bear market alarm, but I ain't buying the obituary. I think that we've got an enormous amount of upside getting ready to happen right now. I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to tell you what I think is going on. Hopefully I'm going to be right. Of course, I'm always right. So let's see what happens. By the way, let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think that we are in a bear market now? Do you think we've officially crossed over to the bear market? Or do you think that this is just a correction like we've seen multiple times before? And I'm going to show it to you on the chart. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.
It's your boy Bleed. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, true believers? Thank you for tuning in. I'm curious about the answer. Do you think we're in a bear market? If you do, put it in the comments section. However, let's look around right now and let's try to take stock of what's happening here. By the way, it is my estimation that we are not heading into bear market territory. However, we have made a dip into areas that are going to scare you. Now, I'm going to break this down on the chart. I'm going to show you what it looks like. There are a lot of people calling for it, saying that the bull market's over. The reasoning that they give is because we're still stuck in a 4-year cycle. Now, huge hedge funds, huge market makers, huge organizations, Coinbase, Bitwise, none of these companies think that we're in a bear market. None of these think, even if we flash an indicator that a bear market might have started, that we're going to be stuck in a bear market. And there are 3 big indicators that have yet to happen, which we know are basically scheduled in at this point, that are going to happen, that are going to change the dynamic of it completely to begin with. So let's break it all down. Make sure that you hit that like button on the way in. And we're going to start off with, right behind me, right up here, this arrow. You see this arrow that I put right there? So let's just acknowledge that spot as the start of the bull market. That's going to be December of 2022 when we started to see that real big move. Now, for the purpose of what we're talking about, this is the weekly indicator. You can see that up top. So make sure, by the way, that you hit the like button on your way in. Now, let's look at this and let's try to get an idea of exactly what's going on. So we're going to start right here. And what we don't want to see is, we never want to see Bitcoin falling below the 50 EMA, right? That's what we're looking for. Well, we've seen that happen, in fact, over here, and we thought the market was over. And that was in August of 2024, when we dipped all the way down here. This was a catastrophic sell-off that happened, dipping us below the 50. But we didn't call it a bear market. We didn't call it a bear market. And do you know why? Because we were stuck to the 4-year cycle. So that's why it's not a bear market, or that's why it was not a bear market when we were originally talking about it. But let me show you what happened here. We zoom in here and we see we had a close under the 50. It broke above. So no harm, no foul. Okay. No harm, no foul. We want 2 candles to mint below whatever our line to gain is, and then we can start talking about a bear market. So it never happened. The weekly close ended up coming back very, very strong, closing above. So no harm, no foul, right? Well, then 1 month later, we close below the 50 MA, and then within a week, we're back above it. So bear market, crisis averted, no problem. But we did close underneath the 50 MA, meaning that by all rights, for anybody who's trying to tell you, or anybody who's trying to short the market, they're going to tell you, bear market, bro, it's a bear market. It's not a bear market. So let's move on here and let's see, has this type of craziness happened before? Yes. Did it happen again? Oh, look at this. It happened again. When did this happen? With a close. And by the way, it got even worse. We're looking right up here right now, and you can see we closed below in March of 2025, meaning the bull market is over. And then we minted a candle, a full candle that barely caught the 50 MA at the end of the week. Look at the close. The close was right on the 50 MA, but the close here, well below. So this, we're not in new territory. This play has happened before. And when it happened, what did we get after that? Now, by the way, when I say that, let's look at this and let's say, what happened here? February and March, we had catastrophic level dumps. We had a lot of nervousness in the market. The market was playing out. The bears were in control. The bears were in charge. Donald Trump is throwing out tariffs on everybody. We're not seeing the pump. Look, we were all looking for a generational pump from Donald Trump. That's all. We were looking for that generational pump. And guess what we got? We got an absolutely catastrophic dump instead of a generational pump. Now, why did that happen? Again, this goes back to tariffs, and we're not done with tariffs. So that is a problem. But again, if we take just a step back here, then where do we end up? We ended up exactly where we are basically right now. What we're looking for is going to be a strong rebound back to the 50 MA. So let's go look and let's see if it's happened again. And it just happened. So where do we go from here? In fact, all we need for the month, for a week, is $200 billion to come flooding back into this market. Now, by the way, that might sound a little bit alarming for you. You might be looking at it saying, well, there's absolutely no way that that's going to happen. I would say this to you. The sway of the market on Sunday, yesterday, was 267 in the last week, 267 billion to the downside. The week before, 267 billion to the downside. Okay. 200 million coming in and out of this market is not a big deal. So what I'm going to say to you is this. I don't see any reason for the market to pump, by the way. I don't have anything in my crystal ball that says that Donald Trump is going to do anything in the U.S. market that's going to cause a crazy pump. I don't have any data that would tell me that NVIDIA is about to blow up, or that Tesla is about to go crazy, or that one of the bit mining companies is going to go out of control, that Coinbase is going to do something incredible, that there's no news right now that makes me think that this market is about to go parabolic. The only thing that we really have going for us right now is Michael Saylor out here saying, I bought Bitcoin every day this week. So despite the fact that we've got this dump, we've still got Michael Saylor, our gladiator, if you will, out here still buying up Bitcoin and still accumulating for whatever it is to come next. Now, I'm going to say a few things here that before we get started on the 3 big reasons that I think are very, very important. Okay. I want you to realize these things. Wintermute on October 10 sold off $700 million of Bitcoin in a fell swoop. It was a catastrophic sort of black swan event brought about because, if you guys remember, going back, Wintermute is, by the way, located in London, England, but it was originally a Chinese company. Now, part of that means that it probably has ties to the Chinese government. At the time Wintermute dumped, Wintermute was also most likely sending a message to Donald Trump for the Chinese for the Chinese government that America is not in control of Bitcoin. America is not in control of cryptocurrency, like Donald Trump would try to convince you is true. Now, we have a lot of crypto here. We are one of the big players in crypto, but we're not the only big player in crypto. So I believe, and you can't convince me otherwise, by the way, that this was a message that was directed at our administration to let us know that anything could happen, that at the drop of a hat, China could assert its control into crypto. And it is my belief that that is exactly what they tried to do, was just kind of assert themselves into the situation. If you look at this candle, in fact, this candle was for the week $424 billion in negative flow. I'm sorry, it's 1.01 trillion. I'm sorry, 1.01 trillion in flows for that week. That is absolutely crazy. All right. We went from 4.26 trillion market cap all the way down to 3.17 trillion market cap. That is a crazy, crazy number, and a testament to the fact that China still has its hands in crypto. Now, once that part is out of the way, let's now realize, well, if that's the case, then obviously that means that Wintermute is done. But here's the problem with the thesis. Before selling off all of this crypto, before selling off 700 million in Bitcoin, before selling off everything that it sold off, and by the way, the dumps were catastrophic. It dumped SWI all the way down to, on some exchanges, 56 cents, I want to say. Crazy generational buy opportunities for some massive, massive altcoins. But it showed liquidity pool weakness. It showed problems in the market. And guess what it meant? It meant that the maturity of the market that we were relying upon up to that point was not fulfilled. Okay. Wintermute was one of the big market makers, and it was able to absolutely destroy a market in a couple of days. Okay. So now that we know that that's what happened, we have to ask the question here. Why would Wintermute try to lose $1 billion or lose $500 million? Okay. That is the question that I think everybody right now should be asking. And by the way, nobody's asking this question, okay? Or not enough people are asking this question. Again, this question is very, very simple, and I'm curious from you guys. What do you think? If Wintermute thought that the market was done with the bull run, okay? Let me phrase the question the right way before you answer. If Wintermute thought that the bull market was over and that we were done, this whole thing was cashed in, that we have no shot, no chance, nothing's going to happen, why would they throw $1 billion back in the market for it to go down to 250 million or 500 million? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, because they would just be tossing $700 million, $500 million, one of those numbers. They would just be tossing that into a black pool of liquidity from which they would never, ever, ever recover. So why would they do that? Well, the answer is very simple. They wouldn't do that. Once they were done, they bought the bottom. And if we come back and look at the chart right now, here's what we see. We see Wintermute makes a gigantic dump up here. Then we see it dip all the way back down here, and we see them start a generational level of buy right here. And then we went sideways and up a little bit. Now we're back in this range. Now, let's take Wintermute out of the equation. And the reason that I want to take Wintermute out of the equation is because it makes no sense. Wintermute is not here to flip. Wintermute, look, the way that people make money in crypto, there are traders, there are leverage buyers, there are people who are always doing. That's not what market makers do. As a market maker, Wintermute buys and holds until a top signal flashes. The top signal was 4.27 trillion market cap. Matter of fact, we even had it on our charts as the top of the market Not that it was going to be the end of the top of the market, but that was going to be the next surge anyway. So it surged to that location. We were looking at it for, maybe we can continue to run, maybe we can break above, and we did not. So let's go back. What happened here? Well, Wintermute sells off, buys back in. The rest of the market starts to dump because now the rest of the market is nervous. Why are they nervous? Because Wintermute controls a lot more than they thought Wintermute controlled. That is the same reason, by the way. Let me point this out to you. OM, Mantra. Mantra has not recovered, by the way. And this, by the way, if I show you this as a signal of what's going on right now, then you're going to be like, uh-oh, then we are in a bear market by your logic, please. Well, let me finish the thought, okay? This is the most recent situation in which something catastrophic happened other than Wintermute, and that was one investor loaned out, used Aave lending platform to borrow $36 million against his $36 million of Mantra in order for him to go long on Bitcoin, and it dumped and he got wrecked at that point. That's what happened in this market. And this was going on right here in the month of April 7. Now, Bitcoin over here in the month of April 7, right there. If you'll take note here. Now, we did have a positive month, by the way. We did have a positive week there. But on Sunday, he bought, okay? And then it dipped all the way down to $73,000. Okay, this guy was shooting for the moon, got liquidated rapidly, and then guess what happened? You want to bet? Oh, I'm sorry. I think maybe he was shorting the market. My bad. I reversed that. He was shorting the market, and then what happened? Everybody started buying Bitcoin and liquidated him for 36 million. And what happened? That $36 million with Aave got liquidated. It got sold, and that wrecked the OM chart. But let me show you what happened when the same sort of thing happened to Solana. Remember, we had Solana doing the same thing. Solana was trading before before the collapse of FTX. It was trading at around $136, right about where it is right now. When it collapsed because of all this shit was going on, it went all the way down to $8. Okay, so you could have scooped up between $8 and $20 tons of Solana, and then guess what? After a few weeks here, and by the way, when I say a few weeks, let's be very clear. This was a total of for the breakout. We're going to use the breakout spot as right here. Okay, 48 bars. So it took almost a year. It took almost a year for Solana to reverse its course and start to really, really, really move. Okay, so that's what happened. And then when it did move, look at this. It went absolutely crazy, and it went all the way up to a brand new all-time high of $295 before correcting back down. By the way, if we were to take the Fibonacci move here from the pivot low to the pivot high right there and take it right into that range right there, guess what? We are actually in our golden buy zone. This is the place where we're supposed to be accumulating. This is the place on the chart where we're supposed to be. So I would just like to stress here that, I think we're fine. All right. I think that we're just having a healthy correction. Are we done dumping is the next question. I don't think the answer to that is yes, not yet. I think that there's more downside. There's not enough people who are like, oh my God, it's over for that cleansing. Now, the reason that I say that, I will show you on the charts in just one moment. But I mean, again, that's going to be bad news for some people who are nervous about it. But I mean, when we look at the chart, do I think that 75,000, this red line right here, do I think that's in play? I do not. What I do think, however, is in play is going to be near the bottom of this range right here at around 91,500. I'm going to make a guess right now. I've not looked at all of the data yet, but that red line right there, it looks like we got real close to it, but we didn't actually hit it. But I bet when we go down and we start to look, and by the way, that might be a little aggressive. Maybe it should be like down here. Now that I look at it, I think there's a lot more right there in that spot right there. 91,000. We're going to call that 91,500. Okay. And then there's another level that comes up right after that, which we've got as right here, support and resistance, and that's sitting right at 89,000. Okay. This range right here is most likely where the bounce is going to happen. Okay. Now, doesn't mean that the bounce won't happen immediately. Doesn't mean it won't happen like right away. But the most likely scenario is going to be a breakdown into this range. Now, the reason for that is liquidity. When we go look at liquidity, and by the way, I'm going to say this one more time. I've not looked at this, but I am real confident right now that that is going to be the range. Okay. Let me see here. We're going to do liquidation heat map. We're going to do symbol Bitcoin. We're going to do this on a monthly chart. And then we're going to be looking for some big yellow liquidity points. And we don't see any until we get to 92, 93,000. So in this line right here, the monthly charts, I'm not really seeing it. 6 months down the road here, let's come down a little bit more and let's see if we got it. Like, I'm not seeing it right there. Am I looking at Bitcoin? Let's try this one more time here. Let's go down. Let me do 2 weeks. I'm going to try 2 weeks because I think that there's going to be levels to this that we're going to see that are going to kind of pop up, and we'll see some liquidity available. You know, a dump down right now into 91,500. There we are. That's, I think what was my number here? 91,500. Okay. So if we rode the liquidity down, it's 91,500 right here where my cursor is. All right. Now we zoom out to a longer time frame going into 1 month. And we see the same thing, only it goes down. It's still the same range. It's still 91.5. When we look at a longer term on the map, then we're starting to look for just we're looking for a pocket of liquidity that really says, hey, come get me. 88,900, 88,000. Like, it doesn't look very deep right there at the 88,000 range. So I would say that 89 right there, 89,128 is the last big pocket of liquidity. And what did we predict over here? We said 89,110. Guys, you can't even make this shit up. All right. These are levels that have been proven multiple times. So the biggest level right now is going to be, and it's bounced off of it a bunch of times over here, 91,400. So I think that the market is coming back down to that 91,400 range. If we were to, again, use it as Fibonacci, then we want to go from impulse move right here to the top of the range right here. And then we want to see, where is it that we're settling right now? Where are we settling? At the 0.618. That means that we're at the bottom of the accumulation zone for the last Fibonacci. What happens with Fibonacci? Once it runs up, it hits the top, then it comes back down, then it bounces back up, and we go to the 236. So where's the 236 right now? 114,000. I think a rally to 114,000 is probably going to be underway over the next couple of weeks. Okay. So, when you start to break this stuff down, when you start to peel back the layers of this shit, you will start to see that it doesn't make sense that the market's over. There's too many people buying too much Bitcoin. There's too many people in the game at this point for it to go down to some ridiculously low levels. Now, also, it's also at the spot right now where we've not had a bull run. We've not had the bull run like everybody has been looking for. It's been delayed. And the fact that it's been delayed doesn't mean that it has ended. And that's the important part. And that's the part, by the way, that I think a lot of people are missing, because they're just like, you know what? I'll see in 4 years. This is over. And by the way, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, later tater, I don't need you. Get out of my market. Stop being here. Quit crying about it all goddamn day and just hold on to your Bitcoin and let it run down. Now, some of these people, by the way, they've sold their Bitcoin. They're waiting for the market to dip all the way back down. Okay. Now, what's going to happen to those people? FOMO buy-in. They will FOMO buy in because they're going to get a buy signal pretty soon that's going to tell them to get back in the market. Now that we've got that broken down, and I'm giving you the reason. Okay. Number one, quantitative easing is coming. The United States government is about to print money to put into these markets. The quantitative tightening is done. They've finished. They've absolutely capitulated when it comes to the drawdown that they've had so far. And as a matter of fact, I did take a moment here, and let me see if I've got it right now. There are some numbers and there is some data to this. Let me find that drawdown that I got. Bump. Now, we don't want to do that, and we want to flip this over here. Yes, we want to do that. Boom. No, we didn't want to do that. We want to do this right here. Okay, so bump. You know, I had these numbers here just a few moments ago. I asked Grok, and now I can't find the answer from Grok. Son of a bitch. Oh well. It's not natural. It's not natural. Okay, and then you want to get rid of that. Okay, there we go. All right, found it. Man, I tell you what, I've been using Grok. I've been using AI to try to enhance this channel for you guys to get, to get more information, to make sure that I have it. Now I got it. Number one is the Clarity Act. So just so you guys understand, the Clarity Act just cleared the House in July. Okay. The question was, does it have bipartisan momentum in the Senate? Well, not necessarily. It didn't really have that. It needed Cory Booker to step in. It needed Hakeem Jeffries. It needed all these different people to get their nose in and start to kind of figure out what Democrats wanted. And don't forget that Liz Warren had a say in it. Now, the original draw up, I think it's called a markup. I'm sorry. The original markup from the Democrats basically killed DeFi. It was the end of DeFi. That was a non-starter for Republicans. What Republicans want is they want to open the markets for a little while. Remember, the one thing that we are the most threatened, the biggest threat to America right now is not China, it's not Russia, it's AI. The biggest threat in the world is AI to everybody, because at some point Cyberdyne Systems is going to go online and the Terminators are going to start being printed at some factory somewhere that some AI is developing without us even knowing about it. Okay. And by the way, I'm just messing around. That's not really true, but guess what? AI is starting to fight back. AI has started to fight back. Now, when that fight happens, guess what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to clamp down on it, and you're supposed to prevent it from doing that. And the programming prevents it from doing that. But guess what? It's altering its programming. AI is getting closer and closer and closer and closer to being self-aware. Now, what did we do in order to celebrate that? The Trump administration banning AI for a period of, I think it was 6 years. Well, AI is not going to need 6 years. AI is taking over, okay? Along with that, and by the way, that's the end of the world, right? Like that's where the T101, is that what the Arnold, was it a T101 or whatever it was? The T1000 was the liquid metal endoskeleton with the blah, 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 blah. But is it the 600, the 800, whatever he was, T101, the Terminator, is going to be allowed per the Trump administration. The opportunity exists right there. They're going to do the same thing for cryptocurrency, to turn that long point into a very short one. They're going to do the same thing with cryptocurrency. There's going to be a pivot. The T1000 is the liquid one. That's the one from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I think he was the T101 or he was the T600. I don't know. God damn it. What model was... Now it's going to just Arnold's Terminator 800. There it is. All right. So Arnold was the T800. Model 101 is the Infiltrator. Yeah, there we go. His full official designation is the Cyberdyne System Series 800 Model 101. That's where the 101 came from. I knew it was something like that. The T1000 was Robert Patrick. He was the liquid one. You know what I mean? Like that was the guy. All right. Believes you are a rare exception. Usually you big buckets are arrogant and stupid. You are just another arrogant bully. All right. You're probably right, though. You're probably right, though. Yeah, there we go. T800. All right. So thank you and unthank you, and then thank you and then unthank you, I guess. Like, I don't know what's happening there. So anyway, the Trump administration, given the opportunity to stop this from happening, they chose to stop any kind of, you can't prohibit AI from growing for the next like 5 to 10 years in the United States. They're going to do the same thing to crypto. So to summarize, Democrats realize this is a non-starter. There has to be a path forward for everything. So now we thought that this was some crazy bill where Democrats are trying to kill it and we're dead. Well, it turns out it's not. Cory Booker has already put out the proposal for the Democrats, and there's an opportunity right now for you to go review what they wanted, and it's not nearly as damning and devastating as it was before. It looks like the major players in the Democratic Party are ignoring the extreme wing of the party, and they are focused on a bipartisan effort to make this stuff happen. They're focused on making sure that we have a big lane for crypto. Now, let's flash it forward. Yesterday or today, maybe it was this morning, Donald Trump said that his goal, like one of his major goals right now, is to make cryptocurrency the hub, that the USA is going to be the hub for cryptocurrency. Okay. So when you have that sort of backing behind you, when you've got the president of the United States saying to you now, hey guys, listen, I want to make this the center. This is where crypto is going to grow and evolve and get bigger and better. If that's the case, then you have to be bullish about that. Now, Derek, please no more. Let's remember that the reason that we're dumping right now really doesn't have a whole lot to do. I mean, it does in a macro sense. It does have some stuff some to do with Donald Trump, but it's the lack of the Clarity Act not having gone through by this point. It's the tariffs where we're still fighting people. But let's also go back and let's talk about number one. While we're on this Clarity Act, the Clarity Act, by the way, was the number one thing. But the subtext to this would be this. Trump is cutting tariffs right now. By the way, look, you guys know that I take every opportunity I can to dunk on Donald Trump. Okay, when he said we're going to put tariffs on everybody, and the Chinese are going to pay for it, and the Russians, they're going to pay for it, and the Canadians are going to pay for it. We know that's not true. It's a lie. We know that he was lying. Okay, because if he wasn't, why did he just announce that he was lowering tariffs to 10% to make things cheaper? I want you guys to think it through as long as it takes. Just as long as it takes. You truly do believe your own tough guy BS. Yeah, 100%. My mama didn't raise no bitch. So anyway, there's no circumstance in which we're going to be done with this pump. Is basically the summary to everything. Okay. Number two, after the Clarity Act, number two, quantitative easing. So far, what we have from the U.S. government is the Fed's wrapping up its quantitative tightening, shrinking the balance sheet right now. It's drained its reserves. It's tightened the liquidity like a noose, but with markets creaking up, Powell's team is signaling a U-turn at the end of this quarter to early 2026, potentially firing up quantitative easing, which means that they're going to start putting money on their balance sheet and on their balance books. So what that, they're going to start the money printer again, because they're going to have to, by the way, and that trillions of dollars are going to start funneling their way back into risk assets. And that money, by the way, is going to be part of first Bitcoin and then the rest of the market. We're going to start seeing an altcoin season. We're going to get a huge run in altcoins. Now, for those of you who, by the way, if you have an altcoin that you think is fantastic, like if you are a dev holder, if you are a SWE holder, if you are a holder of Pick another one here. Urim, which is having a nice little run right now. If you're a fan of some kind of small market gem that you think is going to get an opportunity, you're right. It's going to get that opportunity. Okay. There is going to be a moment there where you're going to get that opportunity. Now, like I told you guys, by the end of the year, Dev still says that they're going to have their big announcement. So if that were to happen, then a lot of us should make a pretty good amount of money. Will it go to $50? I don't know. I think so. It's only 5 billion market cap. So it's not like it's a lot when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? I am 60. Why do you look way older than me? Because I'm 74. I'm 74 years old. So, you know, being 74 years old just makes it tough. You know what I mean? So, but I'm able to subsist and to live my life. So 14 years older than you and still bringing the guns. See what I'm saying? Still bringing the guns. All right. So we got quantitative easing coming, which means that the repo, we're not going to have to worry about. Bond yields are not going to spike anymore because we're going to be printing money. And then the last piece to it is the Fed rates. The basis points, they're going to be cut 25 percentage points in December. Now, that seems to have tightened up for the last couple of days, which is fair. You're going to see moments where things like that sort of tighten up. I don't think that it matters. I don't think that it's going to really be tightened up that bad. Okay. What I think is that the labor market is very, very soft right now, and they're going to have to do some rate cutting. Now, the other thing is, if Jerome Powell doesn't do any rate cutting and he becomes obstinate, which, by the way, he's a Republican, so, you know, probably not very smart. I would just, you know, I mean, it's most likely. He was nominated by Donald Trump, by the way, so I don't know if that means anything. But, you know, Donald Trump has taken a lot of time to point out how dumb Jerome Powell is. I mean, you know, I think it's like an STD in the party, I want to say. You know what I mean? So who knows? But the reality is that we're going to get a rate cut of 25 basis points. And by the way, it's not being priced in right now. It's being priced out. The Fed watch tool is now down to 50 or 45% right now that we're going to get that rate cut. So what's your prediction for the national debt come the end of the Trump term? Back to 30 trillion. By the way, for those of you that don't understand what's going on right now, I really do think that ultimately, while I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, I really do think that the policies and the things that he's putting into place, the belt tightening that he's doing in the government, plus the tariff revenue that he's pulling in, I think all of those things are going to help to reverse our huge and burdensome national debt. Now, I do think that we're going to have to nationalize healthcare in some way. I do think that everybody should be entitled to like catastrophic coverage. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Bet you have never been in a fight in your life. You're right. Never in my life. Never in my life. The scars on my hand, the scars on my arms, those all come from just sitting, just from sitting. Never in my life. I mean, I'm 74 years old. You know what I mean? There's no way that I'd be fighting. Not a single scar. I love you. Silver spoon, never worked a day in your life, guys. Yeah. I mean, guys, you know, I don't even work out. You know what I do? I just take SLU PP 332, which is like working out, but not actually working out. It's like a workout inside a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't work. Lame. So, and by the way, it makes me feel bad when the brokies come in and start crying. Okay. I just got to be honest with you guys. When the brokies come in and they start going, I bet you've never had to work a day in your life. You know what? I'm going to read his tweets again this way. Bet you've never been in a fight in your life. LOL. Not a single scar. I love you, silver spoon, never work a day in your life kind of guys. I love them. I mean, I think you know, or something like that. I mean, it's what it sounds like in my head. You know what I mean? And by the way, make sure you hit the dislike button to let people know how much you dislike me. That helps you out tremendously, not me. Doesn't help me at all. Oh God. So anyway, so we're going to get rate cuts. We'll start in December. We'll get another rate cut of 25 basis points, weakening job market. We don't have October data. We'll probably get some kind of data for October. We'll probably get a little bit later than we anticipate. But when the November data comes in December, I think that's going to cause a massive rate cut or a massive need for a rate cut. And I want to point out that, when we look at this, that we have to start looking at some of the data. And what does some of the data start to tell us? Well, some of the data tells us, guess what? Gas prices coming down. Now, are they coming down to the level that they were under Joe Biden? No, not yet. Last year, towards the end of the year, I bet Bradley voted for Joe Biden. I bet he voted for Joe Biden twice. I bet he was sad. I wonder if Bradley cried when Joe Biden lost. Or when he withdrew from the election. Anyway, gas prices a year ago were $3.01. Okay. Today, $3.06. So, it's not Biden territory, but Trump is trying. Now, when I say this, guys, by the way, I am messing with you because I'm on your side, actually. 306 as gas prices is 10 cents cheaper than it was here, 7 cents cheaper than here, cheaper than it's been since Donald Trump took office. It really is. So we're going in the right direction. And at some point, probably this month, by the way, when you start to look around, let's do this by state, by the way. You can actually do it by state. There is a spot on here where it can go by states. Average gas price by state. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so regular gas in southern states. Let's start with Louisiana. In Louisiana, it's only $2.64. Prices are going to come down. In Kentucky, $2.76. It's going to come down. In Indiana, it's elevated still at $3.02, but that's because these Midwestern petroleum companies are doing everything they can to pillage. Okay, just to pillage. But come down here a little bit, and you'll see some 293, some 262s right there, 268 right there, 281, 274. Guys, ultimately, 251 in Oklahoma. Ultimately, the price of transportation is coming down. With the price of transportation coming down, and by the way, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If I go shopping, then I most likely do not like the prices that I see. Okay. If I'm going out there, like right now, there's like strawberries are like $6 a barrel and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Ugh. Would never vote for Trump. Shave your head at then you look like a tough guy. I don't really care if I look like a tough guy. I don't know. Listen, you trans people are just wild to me. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, if you look, okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you to do. Take one of my thumbnails, download the picture, use a background remover, throw me in body oil or something like that. Pretend, ask Grok to cut my hair off and then, wank off to me, or if that's what you do. I mean, I assume that's what I guess that's why you want me to do this. So I look like what you call a tough guy so that you can have some tough love with Yo Wang. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. It's just so wild and weird. What kind of Danish would vote for Biden? Cheese Danish? Anyway, ultimately, I think that once we get the gas prices down a little bit more, and again, I do think that they've been manipulated to stay high right now, and I think some pressure is being put on by this administration that we're going to see oil prices and gas prices continue to fall a little bit, and then that's going to lead to prices again outside. I've been there. I've been there. Okay, I've seen the prices of stuff. And look, I mean, I think that beef prices are excessively high right now. Egg prices are back to normal. cereal prices, I've been talking to you guys about that every once in a while. Like it's $4.99 and $5.99 and $6.99 for boxes of cereal. That to me is absolutely crazy. But guess what? I went to the grocery store today. I was trying to buy a dildo for Bradley to send him so that he had something to chew on for the show. And they didn't have any, by the way, Bradley, sorry. But what I did notice was cereal was on sale for $2.99 and $3.99, which means prices are coming down. It starts off with sale prices. It's that whip effect. And now that we have a little bit of a lower sale price, guess what? When they restock the shelves, it'll be 20 cents cheaper or 10 cents cheaper or something like that. And then it'll go back on sale. Prices are coming down. I assure you guys, you will start to see it. And by the way, chicken is on sale in my neighborhood right now, 99 cents a pound. So again, there are because the chicken, I don't know, it's called chicken stock, was decimated by the bird flu. It caused a problem, but that seems to have subsided now. And we seem to be back to a semblance of normal, little things like that. And then Trump relinquished the tariffs on beef. Those little things are starting to pile up and they're going to lead to savings in the stores. Okay. I promise that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. LOL. LOL. You really do think that you're always right. You really do. You think that just because you say it, that it's true. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Thank you for pointing that out. Coke prices are starting to come down for me, and I can buy chicken breast at $6 to $8 again. That's exactly right. That's it. That's exactly right. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't do Coke at all. I don't do Pepsi. I don't do I don't do carbonated beverages at all. Not for carbonation or anything like that. I just go with water. And to be fair, like I went the other day and I got me a Gatorade Zero, and then I just fill these up. I have 3 or 4 of these, and I just fill them up with water, and I just drink them all day long. I drink a cup of coffee. I wasn't drinking cup of coffee for a while. I wasn't drinking even coffee for a while, but I was told that the polyphenols are important and good for your body. So I drink a cup of coffee again in the morning. But then I don't have any caffeine for the rest of the day. I had ham and bacon last week. Oh my God, I thought I was going to die. Like I can't even tell you how bad I felt after having like ham and bacon and stuff like that. I had a steak yesterday. Steak didn't make me feel good. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, the point to it all is prices are going to come down. We're going to be in a better place. We're going to be in a better place. And you know what I mean? He wasn't talking about Coke, the beverage, believes. Hey, yo, yeah, yo. I hear what you're saying. I don't know anything about that either. I mean, dude, I'm not trying to be a nerd here. I'm not trying to be a nerd here either, but my knowledge of illicit substances is remarkably minimal. Okay. I like gummies. I have one before bed, but I don't partake again until I'm going to bed because it helps me sleep. But I also use growth hormone injections. I use ipamorelin CJC 1295. And I start, by the way, today was my first day of doing that. Coke soda is my favorite, but I should stop though. Ryo, are you from the South, by the way? Because I have this debate with people up in the North. Like in the North, they call it soda. They call it soda up here. Down in the South, we just called it Coke. You would go into, like in the South, you go into a restaurant and you're like, what do you want to drink, hun? And you say, I want a Coke. And she's like, what kind? And then you say Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like that's it down in the South, it's always called Coke. And pop. Pop is another one that's part of the Midwest. Pop and soda and stuff like that. And people also say Pepsi up here. But where I'm from, everything was called Coke. I want a Coke. What kind of Coke? Mountain Dew. Like, that's just the way you, that was just for me, the way that you did it down in the South. And by the way, that's how you did it in Florida too. I lived in Florida for 10 years and that's how we did it in Florida as well. So, anyway, I don't drink those kind of things every once in a while because it's not like I ban myself from having them, but once every 4, 5, 6 months, twice a year, maybe when I go out for dinner or something like that, then I'll be like, you know what, just bring me a Coke, something like that. I usually don't even drink the whole Coke, but every once in a while, just to say that I had one, I have one. But ultimately, I just, like, in my day to day, I don't. To me, that's gross. Like, it's just too much sugar in my life that I don't need. That's not healthy for me. There's no benefit. There's nothing beneficial going into my body from drinking a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or a Mountain Dew or anything like that. You know what I mean? I only say Coke because that's the only pop I drink. You know what? I think that's part of being in the South. I think that was part of being in the South too, because if you remember, Coca-Cola is from Georgia and it was a Southern drink to begin with. So I think that it's, I think it just became a byproduct of, if you're a Southerner, it was Coke. If you're a Northerner, it was Pepsi, something like that. And of course it can be, doesn't matter where you live or whatever. But again, you become one with the people that you're around. So when you're around a bunch of Southerners who prefer Coke, you say Coke a lot more. I think that's just what it was. So anyway, we Californians love it too. Listen, if I had to choose between them, Pepsi is gross and Coke is much better. There's also one called RC, which was also, but it was more like Pepsi, but it was kind of a cross in between them. And I think that it was better God damn it, let me see. Coke, RC, Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I would see it. Yeah, RC and pizza. As a matter of fact, if you go down around the corner from me is a place called God damn it, what's it called? Waldo Cooney's. Waldo Cooney's Pizza, famous Chicago pizza place. Waldo Cooney's, that's what they have. They have RC and pizza. Are you stacking test with your peptides? I am not stacking test with, I don't take testosterone and I don't take steroids. So all I use are peptides. And if it's a peptide, I'm willing to try it. I was on GHKCU for a while. GHKCU, not good. It's all blue, which doesn't make me feel good. I just, there's something kind of gross to that, CC's. Was it a 99-cent buffet? I think it was like $6 or $7 back in like 2015 or something. I went to one before a couple of times. CC's they were okay. It was okay. But that to me, that's not even really like pizza. Although I will say this, at CC's, it was more like what I would like. Like, for example, my son only wants pepperoni and ricotta cheese on his pizzas. Okay. So, I mean, it'd be a normal pizza with, mozzarella sauce and crust, but he likes to put ricotta and pepperoni on it. The pepperoni is pork. So to me, it just makes me, I don't feel good when I have pork. So, I eat it, and my wife likes sausage pizza, which is, again, like not for me. You know what I mean? Like, I like Wick's Pizza in Louisville, Kentucky, which does, by the way, have pepperoni and sausage. I don't want to dismiss it and say that I'm eating something completely different, but Wick's has everything. It's called the Works, or the Big Wick is what it's called. And oh my God, Mr. Gaddy's was so awesome. But that was a thin crust kind of cheap pizza too. But Wick's Pizza on Barrett Avenue or on Baxter in Louisville, Kentucky, they have a thing called the Big Wick, and it's basically sausage, pepperoni. I want to say maybe ham, and then just basically a supreme pizza. So good, like so good. But CC's had like barbecue pizza with pineapple on top, which was really good. They had all kinds of different, they would use the white sauce What is that white sauce called? I don't know what the white sauce is called that you put on pizza. Anybody know what that's called? Moretti's Pizza is the bomb. Damn it, I can't forget. Alfredo. Alfredo. That's what it is. Alfredo. I like a pizza with Alfredo on it and chicken and Alfredo and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like there are plenty of different kinds that I really like. You know what I mean? Like there's some really, really good pizzas out there that just, you know, they take on the shape of pizza without the marinara, without the cheese, without the, you know what I mean? Like, so, and the best pizza that I ever had, by the way, even though I will tell you, my favorite pizza of all time is Wick's Pizza in Louisville. That is my favorite. But the best pizza that I ever had was from a Chicago place called Beggar's Pizza. And it was a stuffed bacon and spinach pizza. And I don't know if it could even live up to the hype again today. But on that day, when I had it the first time, it was the best pizza I ever had. And it was just maybe it wasn't stuffed. I'm sorry. It wasn't stuffed. It was deep dish. It was a deep dish, deep dish bacon and spinach pizza. And it was the best pizza I've ever had in my life. And I mean, you know, I mean, I'm from Louisville. So I had Papa John's, I had Domino's, I had whatever pizza was available. I always had growing up. It was no big deal. But yeah, there was something about that one that was just so good. And of course, I've been to Pizzeria Uno, I've been to Lou Malnati's and all those kind of places around here in Chicago, State Line, Rosati's, you know, you name it, I've probably been there. I just don't like pizza that much anymore. You know what I mean? It's just not, I don't know. There's something, you know, doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't make me feel like I've done anything good in my life. You know what I mean? Weighs me down, stuff like that. Maybe I'll get there again at some point when I decide to become a giant fat body again. But for right now, I'm down 120 pounds. I'm going to stick with it. You know what I mean? Like I told Bradley, I'm 74 and a half years old. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 98 tomorrow. So it's the bread. You know, I think so. Which, by the way, means like the cracker crust pizza. I really kind of like the cracker crust pizza lately, which I prefer deep dish. I've always preferred deep dish, but you know what I mean? Probably the yeast and gluten. That's probably what it is. It's probably just because it like sits like a rock. You know what I mean? Like just, oh God, I feel so bad when I have it. And I mean, again, if I had to pick a pizza in my life, I have my favorites and stuff like that. Yeah, official Joe C. It is Alfredo. It was Alfredo. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't mind. There's also like a Mexican pizza, not the one from Taco Bell, but like around me, like some of the Chicago eateries, they have like Mexican pizzas where they actually make like taco stuff and they put it on the pizza. Or you can get barbecue, like barbecued spare ribs and shit like that. Like you can get like a barbecued spare rib pizza, and you know they do a lot of creative things with it now. But again, that breading, I think just kills me. No way. I don't want to be that person anymore. So, you know, I just kind of try to stay away from it. So anyway, let me get back to the market here. I'm going to close this guy out. I appreciate, and guys, I appreciate the conversation. And also make sure you hit that like button on the way, especially if you like Alfredo pizza, because Alfredo pizza is amazing. So, anyway, where are we going right now? So if we look at the market, we're up about 20 billion on the day. I got to zoom out here and I got to tell you that I'm not confident. I'm not confident in this market yet because there's no catalyst that's leading me to think anything positive is happening. Look at the chart right now. We're below the 50. We're below the 200 on the 1 hour, which means that in this, we're absolutely bearish. Okay. We haven't broke support, but we are bearish right now. We move up to the 4 hour and we look at the 4 hour. We are bearish. We are under the 50. We are under the 200. And not only that, but the 50 is below the 200. So that's even more bearish, if you will. So that is a problem. Then we move out to the daily, and this is where I get scared. Okay. This is where I get scared. Now, I told you guys a couple days ago what was going to happen was we were going to hit that death cross. And when we hit that death cross, it was going to suck, right? Which is why I think we're going down some more. All right. You can see the death cross happened right there on Saturday. So as of right now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that at a minimum, we're going to hit 91, maybe 89. Then we can start talking about getting back in here before the end of the close of the week, by the way. I want to say that in the event that this all happens, it really doesn't matter ultimately. When we're reading charts like this, this is basically tarot cards for crypto bros. Just because I can see what's happening on a chart, just because I can tell trends and stuff like that on a chart, doesn't mean they're going to play out that way. Anything could stop on a dime and change it. Anybody like another Wintermute could pop in and just start selling deeply on the chart. Something could happen with Michael Saylor and he's forced to liquidate something. There's any number of things that could happen. But if we look at it from a structure standpoint on the chart, the last time we got a death cross was right here. This death cross right here took us down and then ultimately to an all-time high again. All right. So what I think is going to happen is the same thing is about to repeat itself. If we look at where we are right now, we've broken that little structure right there on this long-term trend. But if we look at the total market cap, guess what? We really haven't broken down all the way. We can go to 3 trillion market cap and we would still be in line. So we're talking about another $200 billion could flood out of this market, which would be about 200 billion to get us to 89,000. So there really is that possibility that we have a little bit of a leak coming out of this market for a little bit longer. And then from that's where we get a significant sort of reversal. And by the way, let's talk about why there would be a reversal. First of all, the reason that we're bleeding right now started with Wintermute, which is reaffirmed by tariffs still being a sticking point, by the slowdown in the government, by the high bond yields. As a matter of fact, bond yields right now, 10-year bond yields are currently at, if they're still over 4, we're kind of screwed. And they are at 4.14%. And guys, this is very simple. If I were to buy a 10-year bond today for $1 million, it would pay me a yield of $41,460 a year. I have zero risk, or as close to zero risk as you can possibly have. So I don't have to worry about my money. I know that my money's going to be good because the U.S. government is backing it. And I'm going to get $41,000 a year for them to hold my money. Now, if I've made $10 million that I can buy bonds with, that's almost $500,000, $414,000. If I have millions of dollars and I want low risk with a good return that's guaranteed to make me a profit, this is the number one asset right now, bonds. So it's the easiest money in the market, and it's currently elevated. Now, it was up at 4.75 at the beginning of this year. So the fact that it's been coming down is great, but it's been kind of slow. What we want to see is some of these. Let me go back here to a 5-year number. On this 5-year number, look at this over here. It was at 0.9 at one point. Like this economy was sitting at a space where 0.9 was your bond yield rate, which meant that money was flowing into risk assets because there was no money to be made from the U.S. government. So until that comes down, we're going to be in trouble. Now, the other piece is right here, and that's gold. And look at what gold has done. Now, gold just double topped or got close to what looks like to be a double top. If you're looking at this, by the way, from crypto standpoint, what do you see? You see the massive run up, then you see the dump, then you see the secondary top, and that means that this is about to happen. That's what you would see if you were looking at it from a crypto perspective. ICP. Let's go look at, we just screwed that up. I didn't want to do that. There we go. So we had a nice little run up here on ICP, wham. Then we got a secondary top, and then we came all the way down, because that's the nature of the market. It does it all the time. So when you look at Solana, same thing. We got a big top over here. We got a secondary top over here. And now here we are way down here. I expect the same thing to play out on gold over the next couple of months. The problem with gold is that the next couple of months could end up being the next couple of years, because people are fleeing. They're fleeing fiat currency in favor of gold. And eventually, in favor of gold will be in favor of Bitcoin. Will it still be as much as gold? I don't know. I think so. But, ultimately, you never really know. So let's just summarize this so I can get the hell out of here. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. On the short term right now, we're trending sideways. When we're trending sideways with no upward momentum, we need a catalyst to move us forward. In lieu of a catalyst, that means that the bears are going to have, because here's what you need. You need new buyers to step in, or you need the existing buyers to buy heavy, right? When you look at the chart, new buyers are the only thing stepping in. Old buyers who are continuing to accumulate more would lead to an RSI that looks wonky, but this RSI is matching the trends on the chart. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about here is you get a bearish divergence. And what does that mean? Well, you got this move right here where you got a top, then you got a slightly higher top. And then over here, the RSI was hot, and then it was less hot when it hit that secondary top. So it was heading down. And that means that the same buyers are just accumulating more. It means whales are accumulating. It means the people that already own Bitcoin are just buying a little bit more Bitcoin. Doesn't mean that there's no retail stepping in, but it means that the whales are accumulating a lot more. And when you get that, that's usually a manipulation. And that manipulation leads to what? It leads to a sell-off, which we had. Then we go back to the next all-time high. And by the way, the all-time high, it was a big divergence too. If you look at this top to this top versus this top to this top, you still got a bearish divergence over there, which meant, again, whales were just continuing to accumulate, and now they're no longer holding. They were hoping for 150,000 by the end of the year. They didn't get 150,000 by the end of the year. They're now selling off to see what's going to happen. The smart ones sold immediately. The Dr. Profits, by the way, we got to give a shout out to Dr. Profit, by the way. He called this shit. He didn't call the top, but he called close enough to the top. He was accumulating between, I think, 115 and 125 and setting shorts in that position. And now it's down to, 95,000 right now. So shout out to Dr. Profit. He knew exactly what was going on in the markets. Is he right about where it's going to go? I don't think that he is. But, the other thing is, Bitwise, Coinbase, everybody who's anybody believes that this market is about to explode one more time. So ultimately, I think we're headed up. Now, if it's Ethereum, I'm still, I was before, and I continue to be not confident in Ethereum. All right. Also told you that XRP was going to go one way or another, and it went another. It went down just like we were, you know what I mean? Ryo says the last leg. Yeah, but by the way, for those of you that understand, Dr. Profit's not calling it the last leg. He's saying that there's an 18-month bear market. So what I'm saying is we're on that last leg. We're going to have a little bit more dump, and then we're going to have a nice reversal. That there's no, the fundamentals of the market, by the way, if you were to go back here and you start looking around and start asking people whose job it is to analyze this all the time, what the most important thing is people are going to say is that the fundamentals of the market are still fine, or they're still just fine. That there are the problems in the market are outside influence and outside sources like the tariffs, like Trump. Look, when you've got basically you've got what people equate to stormtroopers running through the streets of Chicago, flashing flashlights in people's windows to see if they can spot the Mexican or something like that. That is not a great look on the world stage for the United States, even though even though we should all at least acknowledge that it's a necessary event, we need to have people hear the right way. No matter what you think of the way that it's being done, people should be here the right way. You, because something happened at your house, meaning your country, just because something happened at your house doesn't mean that you should bypass the line of all the people who are coming in to the United States the right way. So something had to be done. Donald Trump was tasked with being that person. As everything that Donald Trump does, he does it the wrong way and the horrible way and the worst way possible. But guess what? Again, it was a necessary thing in my opinion. So, here we are. So people don't like that. They don't like that the grocery prices are up. And they don't like the fact that Donald Trump keeps telling them that every price is down. Donald Trump doesn't shop. He has no idea. He has no idea. He just lies to you until the lie becomes your reality. And then he moves on to the next lie that then becomes your reality. And a lot of people are willing and have been willing to tolerate it for a long time because guess what? Democrats are worse. Okay. So just because I say I don't like Donald Trump and I don't like some of the things he does, or I acknowledge that some of the things that he does are just dumb or, not good business in any way, doesn't mean Democrats would do it better. That's why he got my vote. So, I'm not saying that, Kamala, I'd be joking around. We got Super John in the house. What's going on, man? I'm not saying that Kamala Harris would have done better. And by the way, sometimes I joke with people on X because I can't help myself. And I say stuff like Joe Biden's crypto was better than, Donald Trump's crypto and stuff like that. We're not at the end of the story for Donald Trump and crypto. You know what I mean? We're just at the beginning, to be fair. So I really think that in the next couple months here, we're going to see a crazy, we're going to get what we were looking for. Donald Trump is trying to put $2,000 into everybody's pocket right now. Some of that money is going to start flooding back into crypto. That's going to spark retail coming back in. If that happens near the Clarity Act. And by the way, let's not forget Donald Trump has a meme coin in the Trump coin. Let's not forget Donald Trump has World Liberty Financial. Let's not forget that Donald Trump is working diligently with Cardano, with XRP to find use cases and reasons for those to be included in government, whatever we do. There's too many positives in crypto right now for the bear market to begin. Okay. So we failed the EMA 50. I don't think that it lasts. I think that we'll get back in there within the week. We need $200 billion. We got $25 billion right now. We might have a nice pump overnight. We might have a nice pump on Monday morning. I don't know what Dow futures look like. I don't think we get that data. Actually, right now, we might have just gotten the data. Stock futures are a little changed. Okay, so stock futures have and by the way, for those of you that don't know, they don't start doing it. They don't start reporting it until like 6 p.m. On Sunday. They open the pre-market like 6 p.m. on Monday or something for oh, and we got an update here 20 minutes ago. NASDAQ futures are climbing as traders look forward to NVIDIA earnings. All right. So, and the jobs report. So we're going to be getting some data. We're going to know a little bit more about what's going on here. Earnings. Yes. Earnings. Let's see. Jobs report. September jobs report is coming out. Okay. So here we go. September jobs report is coming. Agencies of the Department of Labor and Commerce have not posted it, but updates are expected soon. All right, so we don't have a date on it yet, but there's going to be a report sometime this week giving us the job report. Meat prices are higher than a giraffe's ass right now. You know what, Joe C? Listen, it's 99 cents for chicken right now near me. So yes, prices are elevated, but not everything is elevated. Eat some chicken for a while. You know what I mean? Grab yourself some eggs, you know? If you want to eat cheap, you can eat cheap. I mean, I go again, I don't eat out of a box anymore. So, like I don't like when, when I see something, you know, like chicken fingers or chicken stuff like that. Like I not that I'll say no. If I'm hungry, I'll eat it. But you know what I mean? I'm not really going to be into it. He already signed an executive order for beef tariff. Well, beef prices were already high, I think is the point. They just got elevated with the tariff. They were already heading up and they were already prohibitive. So I don't know that reducing the tariff is immediately going to make the price come down. It might take a month or two for it to come down. So, but chicken prices are good. Chicken prices are good right now. And, you know, hopefully we'll start to see a little bit of relief. Guys, I want to say this one more time. The biggest obstacle to prices coming down right now is fuel and delivery prices. And fuel and delivery prices are coming down. So I anticipate that we're going to see some relief very, very soon. And that relief is going to turn into people buying crypto. There'll be some announcements for crypto coming up pretty soon. Thing is going to get absolutely crazy in this market. We are not done yet. So if you have not already, make sure you hit that like button on the way out. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you taking the time. Even Bradley, the trans guy that was in here earlier, you go, girl. I'm an ally. I'm an ally. Okay. But you guys have a good evening. I will see you on Monday morning. Still haven't decided about the new schedule or anything like that for the show. Still just kind of batting it around, working on it. But I do have some new stuff that I'm doing. So, as we see right now, I'm already pivoting into other stuff that I wasn't doing, right now. The next Bitcoin target is 89,000. I believe 89,000 is going to be where we get a bounce. So fingers crossed. All right. But you might have noticed that I did one video here, which was the start of it. And that was this one right here. I hope you guys appreciate it. I've been working real hard on new thumbnails and stuff like that. I've been trying to come up with a better method, by which I can create thumbnails, stuff like that. Like this right here. You'll notice I'm blurry a little bit. I've got some glow around me. The light is in the background. I've greened out the back and stuff like that. I own a barbecue restaurant. Oh man. Well, you know what? Send me where you are on Believes Crypto on X. And if I'm ever in town in your neck of the woods, I will stop in and, check it out. Bitcoin dominance update. Bitcoin dominance is nothing to worry about on Bitcoin dominance, by the way. Bitcoin dominance sitting around 60%. It's not really moving one direction or another. Still sitting at 60%. We've just kind of been meandering right now in that range. I said that I think it's going to start to break out. Like we need Bitcoin dominance to go absolutely crazy for this market to have an altcoin season. So just guys, in the event that you're wondering, Bitcoin is going to have to break out and altcoins are going to have to get squeezed a little bit more. The rising tide will lift the boat, but you're going to see a squeeze on some alts that don't have momentum in order for this to all happen. But I think we're going to see Bitcoin rally significantly, probably go up to 70% dominance, maybe even 72, 73% dominance. Then we'll get an altcoin season. The question now is when that's going to happen. We're at the bottom of a range right now that we've been in for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And now we're at the bottom of that range right now, which means that the bearish momentum, well, basically it means altcoin season is on hold until Bitcoin rips one more time, and then the money starts to cascade back down. That's going to be something for tomorrow or another time. In the meantime, you guys have a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's not financial advice, but I'm looking for the good life, good life. Sitting on top of the world. I want to be shining like diamonds and pearls. I want you to go.